long week, and I'm really excited to be here with you, but I'm also excited for the pizza that awaits me after I've got my Zevia ginger ale, stevia sweetened. I get these at discounts at my discount shop, but Seagram's Diet Ginger Ale is my favorite, or ginger ale zero, but this is this hits pretty good too. So I wanted to come in and talk about this news article about these rapid aging bursts through some recent research. An article at The Guardian I shared. I took a community poll here, which I want to go through. I'm going to go through a lot of the comments because a lot of people actually had some really unique stories about whether or not they had the rapid aging burst, what time it happened, what was going on in their life. I think a lot of it has to do with stress and timing beyond just biological age. But a lot of people at this channel here, I'll be 42 next month. They're trying to stay fit as they get older. They're trying to find the holy grail or the fountain of youth to fight that. Again, there's no such thing as anti-aging. It's slow aging. It's happening. And some of the stuff I heard people say in the comments, which we'll talk about later, can definitely relate to. And also, it makes me fearful of what's to come in the next decade of life. I'm lucky to be here. So thanks for jumping in. Like, share, subscribe. Lots of great stuff coming through the pipeline here. Number one, the 28-day Hangs Challenge. I actually just spent the whole morning here, 3 hours, filming some of the content. And, I love these challenges because it's difficult. You want to get people motivated, and I feel like people need something short-term they can commit to, they know they can get through, because it's not too long. You can jump in and something accessible, simple, but also impactful. And really, a challenge like this, when you do something daily for 28 days, it's about habits, building winning habits. And it's not something too complicated. All you need is a pull-up bar. I also show regressions or modifications with a TRX or a row bars or Libert equalizers, whatever you call them. So you can make it work that way beyond being an awesome warm-up. And variation will incorporate in this Hangs Challenge. Every day in this Hangs Challenge, you'll be doing a different Hangs variation. There's going to be progression each week in terms of intensifying or adding complexity to it. So by the end of it, you'll have at least 28 new exercises in your movement database. Know how to flow between them. Know which are your strengths and weaknesses. Also, essentially, build an incredible grip. Decompress your spine. So good for the lower back. So good for your shoulder mobility. It's going to also lay the foundation for building an incredible upper body, especially because of the mobility work we do through the scapula. If you want to get wide, stable shoulders, you've got to master that scapular movement in all ways. And a lot of that can be built through the hang. It's also the gateway to the ultimate back building drug, the pull-up, the row. So you're going to get ready for this 9/1/24, September 1st. Labor Day weekend. I hope you guys join us on this. It's actually going to be members only, ad-free content through. And by the way, I'll be even if you don't join the challenge, I'm going to be sharing a ton of Hangs tips all month. My goal here is not to make you feel bad if you can't pay for extra stuff. At the same time, too, Uncle Baby Biscuits has got to keep the lights on. If you want these stars glistening in the wind, Uncle Baby Biscuits has to pay them bills. So that's part of it too. It's also a way to go deeper. A lot of people are newer to the channel, or they're not really, just foot in the pool when it comes to fitness. They're not really as into it or don't have as much time to invest in it. But again, I'll keep providing awesome free daily content here, follow-along workouts, how-to videos, podcasts, short and longer, more interactive stuff as well, which is kind of what's designed here today. And at the same time, too, it's going to be a phenomenal way for me to now bring premium content without ads, with an actual training plan or challenge to guide you through the process. I'll do it with you as best I can, and I'll share my insights along the way. So stay tuned for YouTube memberships, also launching at the same time. The Benefactor, $2.99 a month, just to help us keep the lights on. It means you're a good person. Thank you. The Insider is $4.99, and you get first access to all the content here. Now, I load things up in advance. Sometimes we got Bonolo, what's up, man? TGIF. He wants to know about training to failure. Okay, I'll get to that after the intro here, and then we'll jump into today's little research. And just applications. Again, I'm not a science guy. Honestly, I don't give a fuck. It's just something to talk about, but it's important. And I was actually, it's tough to get engagement here. People that tend to follow this channel, they're busy. They have professionals, indoor parents, a lot of shit going on. They don't have as much time, like we did 10 plus years ago, to just hang out on social media. So I was surprised by how much engagement this got. And again, that's part of what I have to do a better job here is getting you guys, getting the pulse of what you guys are interested in talking about, not just like throwing shit out in the wind, hoping for the best. So I wanted to touch on that today as well. But the Insider, first access, early access to new content, and then you'll also get access to an exclusive live stream. And again, that's what I'll probably do is just like, it'll be an office hour. I might have a topic or just come in for 30 to 60 minutes. And if there's something you want to work on, I'm in my gym here, in my lab where I film. We can go through it, or just, whether it's just talking, demonstrating, that type of thing. That'll also be part of the Insider. Again, $4.99 a month. All these are pennies a day. And then again, the higher end option, the VIP, is ad-free, bonus members only content. All the public stuff is still going to have ads on it because that's for everybody. But everything I make for members only, no ads. And again, bonus content, more behind the scenes stuff, more like training sets I'm doing. Again, just it's not highly produced content. It's kind of raw and uncut. That might not perform very well to public content, but behind the scenes, people actually want to see this stuff from what I've heard. So we'll go into that. And then either a 28-day training plan or a challenge. Challenges might be more quarterly. And again, these are more focused on not necessarily having to do, to like only follow a certain training plan this way. This Hangs challenge, you can actually incorporate with your regular workout. And I'll talk about how you can do that. Or it can just be what you focus on all month, or it's 80% of what the focus is, and I'll tell you what the other 20% should do to make sure the whole body stays in maintenance mode or in check while you focus on this, building the back, widening and lengthening and stabilizing and bulletproofing the shoulders, gruesome grip strength, jacking up those forearms, Popeye style. And again, setting the foundation for the upper body of your dreams. Really, again, I skipped a lot of these steps in getting and chasing the load and the size. It's going to catch you at some point. You can't run forever. And when it catches you later in life, these injuries, man, these aren't just like, I'm out for a couple weeks. This is like a game-changing thing. Or it's the start of arthritis, or it's the start of, fuck, I gotta replace a joint. Okay, and there's now I no longer that's not organic material in there. So we want to avoid that as best we can. Mike Hunt, come on, tough guy, tell the truth. I don't know what that means. I'm not that tough, I guess. But so stay tuned for that. And also, those interested in the new protein powder and Neuro Coffee. Again, if you have your own protein powder, your own coffee, stick with it. These are just really quality supplements, if you will, or just ways to enhance brain health in your cup of coffee. It's an awesome dark espresso roast, custom made, custom blend. And the protein powder that I use, it's nothing new. Except it's a really high quality powder, stevia sweetened, all natural, smooth vanilla flavor. And it has whey and casein, the fast and slow proteins. Again, this is what the 19-year-old at GNC would have told you in the 90s, okay? But again, it's a quality thing. It's kind of irrefutable. Beyond that, by the way, quick protein powder piece. Other ones that I mix in. Native Whey, you can get a shit ton of that at Costco. That's pretty solid, pretty high quality. I also like Isopure, the vanilla Isopure. Again, you can go to Costco and get like 3+ months of protein powder. Isopure has some additional maybe fillers in there, but no sugar, great taste, 25 grams a scoop. The benefit of the Gorilla Corn blend is it got 30 grams, and that was in research that the tipping point to actually activate muscle protein synthesis. If you want to check that out, we appreciate the support. That's custom made. I do get a cut of that. No, it's not. It put me into retirement, but it's, people ask, and it was an opportunity, so I thought I'd recommend it. It's good shit. So let's talk about training to failure. So that's actually one point. I'm going to get to the aging shit, but people here live, let's help you guys where I can. So there's no doubt training to failure creates a level of muscle damage that does increase the recovery time, but also the possible growth supercompensation. There's no doubt about that. The reality, though, is, and again, it's just one thing that I always like to look at when you're looking for programs or advice to follow. And this is why I like to follow athletes, because again, it's one thing to just be a researcher and do everything on paper in a bubble. But if you're an athlete or if you're doing a training plan like you and I, the average Joe Jane, everybody has a plan to get punched in the face, like Mike Tyson said. And ultimately, there's other things. You're going to get bad sleep one night, or there's some work stress or some family issues. That's going to affect your ability to recover. It's all stress, training stress, nutrition stress, lack of sleep stress, all that other shit stress. It all combines and it limits your body's ability to build and repair lean tissue. So when you talk about, especially as you get older, where like in my 20s, I could hammer 5 to 10 sets. Easy 5 to 10 sets, like no problem, 10 by 10 German volume training. If I did that at 42, I'd be out of commission for a week. And I every day I got to make shit. Every day I can't be walking around stiff. So, it's not just going to failure, it's the number of sets to failure. That's the thing to consider as well. So I'm a big fan of most of the time keeping a rep or two in the tank, or frankly, doing a lot of higher frequency submaximal reps. So if I do 3 sets of 10 to failure, that's gonna generate a level of soreness in me and a level of taxing that's gonna really be hard to recover from. Now I could also flip that and say I'm gonna do 10 sets of 3, but perfect form, slow and controlled, squeeze the top, dead hang the bottom, make them last like Keith Sweat. Like how long can I make these 3 reps last? And you do that 10 times, it's 30 reps. Higher quality, typically more time under tension. There's lots of ways to skin it. Part of what we'll do in the Daily Hangs Challenge is, again, we're trying to manage and avoid fatigue and get the volume and the time under tension sub-maximally, but frequently. So, I call it EHO, every hour on the hour. If you're at home, pull-up bar, I got how many pull-up bars here? 3. All around the house. I can't miss it. Anytime I walk by, I jump on that fucking bar, I make a change. I loosen up and I break up all the seated bullshit I do throughout the day. Even though I'm in fitness, it's like this can be a very inactive job between training because it's a lot of video editing, it's a lot of talking to video, it's all day video editing. If you would have told me 20 years ago I would play unfun video games for a living, I would have chosen a different career path. But here I am, it's too late, and I'm not complaining because I can work from home and that type of stuff. But I know what it's like to have to sit. That's why I'm actually sitting on a medicine ball, so during this whole time I can gyrate, look at Uncle Baby Biscuits, gyrating his hips, and I can get loose and just stay active, but I try to break that up all day long. I sit on a med ball, I stand on a slant board to stretch my calves, kind of create a standing work desk. I'll elevate my legs against the wall and drain my legs while I edit vertical video content. So again, it's always like that movement practice. You don't get as sore, you never get stiff. You don't have to warm up as much for training. And I can just drip 5 to 10, pepper them throughout the day, 5 to 10 sets. So in sum, is training to failure going to be the fastest way to spur new muscle growth? Yes, probably if you limit the final set, like let's say you do 3 sets, first 2 sets, stick with the desired rep range or work period you're in. That final set, make it a plus. I was a huge fan of that when I was younger. Like I did the bigger, faster, stronger, built my bench. I got to that point crossing over high school, college. I was doing 300 bench, plus 300 plus bench, 400 plus squat, 500 plus deadlift, and we used to do those sets where it'd be like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 plus, and you're with you're with your teammates. So on my own, that it might just be a single. But I had some 1+ sets that went up to like 10. People are screaming, you're emptying the tank. And again, I had a whole weekend to recover. I could eat whatever I want. I wasn't worried about having abs. And again, you're at the peak of whatever this male experience is, late teens, early 20s. From just a vitality, energy standpoint, recovery standpoint, testosterone standpoint. So but I wouldn't do too many multiple sets to failure unless it's like a final week of a training block. You got a lot of recovery coming. I would, for older trainees, maybe only push to failure on sets 1 week out of the month. And then make sure to taper that off the following month and back off and go like 1 to 2 sets, well short of failure. Then again, a lot of it's auto-regulated. You wake up some days and you feel like shit. And if you get in the habit of, I can't do a perfect workout, I'm not going to train at all. And that's when you start skipping sessions, you start breaking habits. It's not a good path to be on. So that might just be a day where it's just going to be mobility focused. So maybe instead of pull-ups, I'm just doing hangs. I'm maintaining my grip strength. I'm working on form and technique of mobilizing the shoulder girdle, which again, once this gets stiff and this can't glide, overhead work, you're going to get a rotator cuff. You're going to get, a labrum, possibly a labrum tear, a biceps tendonitis. Like this shit comes up, and now you can't train, and now you don't have a plan. So just be careful with it. Taper it off. You don't need to go to failure that often. And again, I think you'll find the older you get, you're going to have better success with doing. Like if I can do 10 reps on something, I'm going to do more sets of 5 on that. And then gradually make it 6, 7, 8. And then before you know it, over time, what used to be really tough, 1 set of 10 all out, you're doing for 3 to 5 sets of 10. And that's like some real strength and size and stamina gains come off of that. But if you're always going to failure, you'll hit a wall probably at the 2-week mark. That's where most people will hit the wall. Some people quicker. And now you could go the route of let's make it like Soviet style. Oh, the strongest survives. Yeah, that's how you find out young who's got the best genes. Let's just fucking kill it and let's see what happens. Who's ever on the other side of that, that's who we keep on the team. That's not you. That's not me. Like, that's not for us. We got to be smart about it. So why am I yelling? I don't know. This is just my voice. It's just my voice. I'm actually, if you knew me like 10 to 20 years ago, I look back, I'm like, I was just screaming. I screamed for 10 straight years at you guys. And not many people complained. And now I feel like I talk more reserved, but this is, I don't know. I'm old. Give me a break. So here we go. What do we got? Thank you, Ben Hoffman. All right, so let's get into the poll. No, like seriously, I used to scream all the time. Like I'm like, I got to do that shit again. Why? I don't want to scream. Why do I have to scream at you? Because they tell you, they're like, we need the energy up. You got like, and I used to run boot camps, and people, if you don't scream at people, like, and by the way, not degrading, but like, it's that Rocky IV, Tony Burden style in the corner. Everything you got, all of your strength, all of your power. That's what people want. And I used to do that. By the way, like that would kill me. I would need 8 hours to work. I would do a morning session. I'd go home and I'd sleep, and I'd come back and do it again at night. And I'd scream again, and I wouldn't even have a voice. That was me. My shout out to anybody's watching from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where I'm originally from. The first gym I had, the Fitness Asylum, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We used to do it in the cold winter days, below zero, dark. In the morning, 30 minutes of hell together, but no longer. I'm in Palm Springs, California now. Uncle Baby needs the heat at this tender age. So let's go to this poll. It says, and again, I hate a lot of this stuff because, again, I'm not anti-science, okay? But I like to learn by doing. And I think, especially with fitness, people listen to fitness more than they actually act upon it. Too much talking. And you're like, this motherfucker has been talking for 17 minutes before actually talking about the topic in the title. I'm going to get there. But what are we talking about? This is rapid aging bursts, like after 40. I've never forgot my train of thought before. I used to do these for 3 hours. I'd never lose my train of thought. But now, you get past Thursday and a week before Uncle Baby gets those calories, and I'm going to forget what we're talking about. Yes, rapid aging bursts 44 and 60. So I can tell you, and again, I want to get to the poll here, but I'm 42. So again, part of what's great about it is we have people in their 50s and 60s comment about what's coming. And I know a lot of people around my age, elder millennial. And so I know a lot of things have just tipped at 40. 40's been a big tipping point. Joint pain, arthritis, metabolism, the amount, like the diet you used to have and the exercise you used to do isn't cutting it to look the same way. That's a new thing. That's definitely new. Prostate issues. I mean, a lot of shit starts like basically, and there's a comment here that just nailed it. Your margin for error is gone. And any sins, it's like a black light in a college bedroom. Any sins from your youth, you discover over 40. But past the 30, I noticed that was the end of the beginning. Like, there were more bad days of like just feeling like shit or like not being into it or just starting to lose that like raw energy and motivation. I noticed that past 30. I was still able to push things physically to a limit. That probably peaked out at 35 before I had to like really start to modify things. Less is more approach, smarter exercise selection, make lightweight feel heavy, harden the muscles, easy on the joints. Not the sexiest way to train, frankly. It's nice to fucking move some weight. It's nice, feels good, but you get to the point as you get older and you accumulate stuff, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. But it is interesting that they determine in this research studying a statistically significant amount of molecules on a bunch of different people that at 44 and 60, stuff changed at a cellular level quickly, like not just the steady, slow aging that one would expect, but like these were actual true, like, it's like you're driving and also hit the gas. And it's a jarring thing to your whole ecosystem. You feel it. It affects your day-to-day, your work, your workouts, your relationship. It does. It messes with your mind. So here's the poll. I said there were 4 options here in terms of like, have you felt at any point in your life a rapid aging burst? And I said one answer was yes, around 60. Another was yes, around 44. Again, 60, 44 are the 2 marks of the study. The third was yes, but at another time. Because again, sometimes it'll hit you like a life catastrophic event happens that completely changes the trajectory of your life, God forbid. All of us, if you're here long enough, you've had at least one of these situations where it's like, it's a day that makes you question whether you want to go on and or if, you can go on in this way. Maybe you have to completely change the way you live your life. If you're past 30, probably you've experienced at least one of those. Some of us, unfortunately, more than others, but it does build resilience. It does harden. It adds wisdom. So I guess we take it with us, but yes, another time. And then the fourth was no, the lucky ones. But again, if you're no and you're listening, you're gonna get some advice here today that might be revolutionary. Get you ahead of the time. Someone says, do you support gear? Do you support gear? No, well, look, I don't mind if someone takes stuff and is honest about it. So at least now we know. But I've been natural my whole life. Protein powder, creatine, marijuana, that's it. Caffeine, that's another drug. Those are the only ones I've ever been involved with. I may have tried some shrooms recently, okay? But just small amounts at home, safety first. But actually I didn't take any, weed. I took weed for the first time when I was 36. I've never drank before in my life because I come from a long line of Midwest alcoholics. So trying to just avoid that. Because that trajectory was not something I wanted to kind of go with. But look, man, it's between you and your doctor. It's between you and your family. It's a slippery slope. You start taking that stuff. Anyone who starts taking stuff, even at a lower level like testosterone therapy replacement, and you get what it feels like to have testosterone of a 20-year-old, you're gonna keep wanting that. And we don't know the long-term effects of a lot of that stuff. So you're gonna get off of it. You're gonna feel you're even worse than ever. And so if you want to take it forever and you want to possibly keep increasing that level as you build tolerance and or as your testosterone continues to decrease, that's a decision you have to make. Now, if you're an influencer, don't ever call me that, please. If a friend of mine referred to me as an influencer, I fucking died inside because, I just, that word, that's one of the most heinous words ever created, influencer. It's so sinister. And it's so of the social media era. I'm not that. I'm just a digital content creator, okay? I'm not trying to influence you to do anything. I share what works for me, try to guide along the way. I don't want you to do things exactly the way I do it. And I certainly want to influence you. It's just, that destroys me. What an awful, I was devastated. And she didn't mean it as an insult, but that is an insult. So now I've given you, if you want to insult me, call me an influencer. You'll break me down inside my weak mental strength. So so gear. Again, I don't take it. If I ever found myself in a situation, let's say my testosterone is 1, and it makes sense to look at this because now I can't even lift a 10-pound dumbbell. Okay, then I might look at it. But even then, I'm like, no, I can film it from certain angles, and it'll make you think it's a 25. I don't like messing with needles or pills. It's not my style. But whatever works for you. Just again, if you're telling people to do shit in fitness and you're acting like you're natural and you're not, that's the only problem I have. Again, I'm not a Puritan. I'm not a saint at all. Uncle Baby Biscuits is as flawed as anyone. But that's just my style on that. So, and then 36%. So here's how it broke down. 6% of the poll, 66 votes. So for this channel, that's a lot of engagement. 6%, yes, they had a rapid aging burst at 60, 24% at 44, 33% yes, but at another time, and then 36% no. So again, the whole point of this was just to see, you hear 44 and 60, it's it can't be so specific. For example, that 30 grams of protein, you're telling me at 29 grams, your muscles will fucking grow? You're telling me at 29 grams, your muscles won't grow. Well, according to this study, that's what it said. I have a hard time believing that study. Now, I'm not anti-science, but I'm also like, 29 grams has to be good enough. But that's also why I typically, I'll go like at least a scoop and a half, put it over 40, maybe 45, and sometimes just go a full 60 if I'm feeling saucy. Because worst case scenario, it can be converted into carbohydrate. It also, extra protein keeps you full. Not at all what we were talking about, but again, like 44, like you hear 44, 60, it seems so specific. It seems like bullshit. But I have heard from a couple people at 60, that was like the first time where they're like, wow, this is a new, like, this is a new everything. And a lot changes at that point. Again, I just told you about earlier in the episode, over 40, man, it is a tipping point. Like I've been dealing with all year, the arthritis, now bone spurs in my left knee. I've got arthritis in both, but the bone spurs are just a whole new level because the inflammation is just, it gets like serious. There was for the first 4 months of the year, there wasn't a week where the knee wasn't swollen. I even isometrics, I couldn't even do split squat isos. Had to completely rethink how I was doing things. And again, through this stuff, I learned so much. All the stuff you see at this channel has been through my trial and error, stuff that's worked with me, with others. But also as I'm aging and having to evolve my training, I'm getting humbled constantly and learning different ways to, maintain, if not maintain the muscle, ideally build some more, develop a complete aspects of fitness. But, that alone, I can't really commit to a training plan because I don't know how the knee's going to be the next day. This is what I'm talking about. It's like you can have a plan, but that's why, like, in terms of where I want to go with this channel moving forward, I spent the first 20 years of my life doing what people, they want it because they just want to be told exactly what to do in the exact amounts and the exact times. And I think there's a place for that. But the reality is we don't live in a bubble. I don't live in a bubble. If I can empower you to take, here's a guide. Maybe it's more of a guide than a plan. And then through the process of trial and error, you're building out the way you want to do it based on how you're recovering, your individual strengths and weaknesses, and there's some sort of empowerment. There's no dependency, right? We don't want to make it a codependent program, meaning if I'm not there, you can't do it because we're doing this through a screen. If I was there in person, there'd be no limit to what we could do because of that energy and that camaraderie and that type of stuff. But that's not what this is. It'll never be. So I have to teach you how to do a little bit of this along the way. You got to learn a little bit. And by the way, that's when it gets fun because then, not that hopefully you always have a resource here, but maybe the resource for you here is more of just inspiration, try new stuff, add it into what you like to do. In the beginning, it's great to have someone tell you exactly what to do, but I would encourage you when you jump on those, I love the beginner's mindset because there's so much growth. That's where the most growth of anything happens, the first 28 days of a new habit or a skill. But know that if you're actually picking things up along the way, this is more sustainable and it's more fun because you can do what you want. You can freestyle. You can look at a plan you had on paper and say, you know what, I like that, but maybe I'll do that tomorrow. I feel like doing this today. And that's when this gets, whether it's ever fun for some people is, that I don't know, hopefully you can get there. Some people just don't like to exercise. They hate it. I like it as long as I'm not too stressed out. And when I'm too stressed out, I've got to accept the fact that I can't go hard or as hard as I want. And I got to do more lower key stuff, maybe more aerobic, more cardio, more mobility, more strength mobility, and then lower volume. And there's pockets a year where I'm not as busy here doing my living, making my living that way, where I can push it. And every year, a quarter of the year, I like to train as hard as I did when I was young. But it is a load management now. So, and because I film exercise videos, that makes it, the recovery now is very difficult for me. If I'm doing a training plan, filming videos, and that type of stuff. So again, you modify all this stuff, and that's my goal with a plan like this, and also what I hope to post here. Just give you guys, try new stuff. If you don't want to overhaul exactly what you're doing, you already got something you enjoy doing or a way of training, I'm going to give you some ideas. And if you need, sometimes you need someone to tell you what to do or someone that's going to guide you on something, that's what I'll be here for as well. Someone has huge muscle mass is the skinny guy. That's a tough one. Again, I say this, let me just take a little ginger ale. They say this is the drink of the old and the infirm. Ginger ale. It's 0 sugar, by the way, Zevia. What was the question? Yeah, so here's the thing. I grew up fat. I'll always have to eat and train a certain way that has to focus more on staying leaner because my body type, building muscle and getting stronger, it's a bit easier for me, but it's really hard for me to stay lean. Like I have to be so, especially at this age, to have abs at this age, I have to be so dialed in. It's about 2 or 3 hours of total movement a day. Movement. That's a lot of stretching and mobility. That's a 60-minute sled walk. And that's any training I decide to do, pool, land. And then also there's filming and stuff like that. And then I have coffee in the morning with Athletic Greens. Midday I have a shake, like a protein shake. And the end of the day I have like meat and vegetables or eggs and vegetables. And then once a week, for about 24 hours, I get my calories up. But even now it's like, they're not like those dirty cheats. It's not Little Caesar's deep dish. It's like the thinnest of thin crust pizza or a cauliflower crust or like something at home. Occasionally like an actual pizza, but like 3 slices, not like 2 pizza pies, like Uncle Baby biscuits. Used to, because I just can't bounce back from those. I also can't eat as much. Thank God. That you talk about like the age switch. Thank the Lord that finally I can't eat as much as I used to. I gained 35 pounds in 5 days once post a bodybuilding show on a binge. I dropped about 10,000 calories at Cheesecake Factory that night. Easy. And I took cake home. Okay? That's who you're fucking with right here. So I'm always going to lean on the side of wanting to stay leaner, but it's harder for me, so I got to prioritize that. Someone who is naturally skinny, look, I'm never going to be a Calvin Klein model. Okay? Like, I'm just too big. My bones are too big. It's just not going to work. And again, I just carry a little extra body fat than those cats. I may have more size, more strength, whatever. I'm 6'2", 205. I played football at 275, so I can go there easy, no problem. I can get up there, but I don't like being that big. My body couldn't take that now at 42. But I played football in college at 275, 6'2", strong as fuck, no balance to my body, meaning just like it was all just like size, strength, nothing else. And now I've been dealing with remedying that for 20 years. So what I'm trying to say is you're going to have to eat 6 to 8 times a day. You're going to have to probably have 5 to 10,000 calories a day. You're going to have to actually be a professional eater to gain significant sizes if you're just a naturally skinny guy. Not that you can't gain muscle, not that you can't actually look jacked, but actually getting like mass, like body mass itself. Like, and that's why I always say like just be lean and I'd rather have 5 pounds less muscle, but you can see all of it, than 5 pounds more muscle, or let's say 10 pounds more muscle, but you're just smooth as fuck. That's my preference. You might actually prefer to be more, jacked. You might want to be more here than here versus the cuts. More of the cut. You want to be out there. That's great. But if you don't have the genetics for that, you're going to have to eat 6 to 8 times a day. You're going to be farting all the fucking time. Hard-boiled eggs. You're going to be having weight gainer shakes at 1,000 calories. Like it's a full-time job to eat that way. It's expensive as fuck. I couldn't even do it. Part of the reason I can't even afford right now with the food prices to eat for a 225 pounder. I can't do it. My goal right now is I can't go below 200. I still want to be able to defend my family. End of times might arrive sooner than later. I can't be under 200 pounds and survive in this world. And I pushed it. Last time I went to the doctor a couple months ago, it was 201 with shoes on. That's the lightest I've ever been in my adult life. And but I'm even still having trouble fitting in my budget the foods I need each week. And again, it's not even a lot of fucking food. It's a couple pounds of grass-fed ground beef. It's a 12 pack of organic eggs. It's a thing of yogurts. It's a couple frozen vegetables packs, organic but frozen because it's cheaper. A couple packs of organic fruit that I put in my blender. For about $100, I can support $100 a week, highest quality foods on budget. I can support 6'2", 205 this way at 42. Whether you think it's good, bad, ugly, I don't know. That's what I've got. But that's all I can fit. I could not afford to eat for 225 pounds. So first of all, can you afford to eat at a heavier weight? are you going to enjoy the gastrointestinal distress that comes with that much eating? And I do believe also, again, like as someone who used to just throw back weight gainer shakes, and again, I had to eat 6 to 8 times a day to be 275. I went to bed with 2 sandwiches. And again, you gotta eat before bed, and you gotta get calories in. So that makes it tough to sleep sometimes. Like, so again, I'm not trying to discourage you from gaining size, but it's also, look, at some point in life, you gotta be happy with what you've got. You gotta maximize what you've got. And you gotta know your weight class. If you're a $160 your whole life, don't try to be 185. Okay? Like, just try to be like 165, shredded, lean, fit in all ways. And again, you're gonna look more muscular the leaner you are. That's more achievable. You don't have to eat through a home. You don't have to blow your whole paycheck on food. Again, the best tips there are probably gonna have to eat 6 to 8 times a day. You're gonna go really easy in the cardio so you're not burning up too much energy. So the food is pushing you into caloric surplus, and lots of higher calorie foods, nuts, steak, eggs. You gotta find that's a higher fat and carbohydrate diet to get there. And so just be aware of that. Mike Hunt says I'm small and weak. I know. That's why it's so hard to grow this fucking YouTube channel. If I could just get some gains. But yeah, I'm definitely not as big as I used to be. What are you gonna do? The other thing I wanted to touch on is the comments here. So let me see. This was actually, I'm gonna go with this comment because there was so much to unpack in this. Bubba Scooter 46, and again, I appreciate everyone who commented. I got back to most of the comments, and I will try to get to all of them this weekend at some point. But this one really, there's so much to unpack. Bubba Scooter 46, from my personal experience, I noticed the biggest change soon after I turned 61. FYI, I'll be 64 this upcoming December. I noticed small changes mid to late 50s, unexplained body aches, slight weight gain, joint soreness, off on prostate stuff. That's the scary shit. I have a friend right now going through that where it's been a year of hell. He finds himself sometimes on the floor in the bathroom. And he has a high stress life. He's super fit. I've never seen him so shook by something before. It's scary stuff, man. Especially around that area. So that tends to be an over 40, mid 40 thing as well. And that's going to affect your whole life, not just your life, your gym. It's going to affect your gym time as well. Trust me, from what I've heard. Bathroom visits all night long. Yeah, dude, I pee. Part of it is I just don't want to be dehydrated ever because you wake up so stiff and sore. And I live in the desert, so it's so dry. So I drink a shit ton of water before bed. I'm fine with peeing 3 to 5 times a night if I don't wake up dehydrated, because waking up dehydrated is just awful. Skin is it's just the worst thing. And my joints hurt. My skin looks terrible. But yeah, you're going to be pissing like a fucking racehorse all the time. That's a fact. Weaker stream. What's funny? Anyone that, again, I'm not trying to promote drugs. Anyone that does weed, especially on indica, it takes forever to pee. Takes forever to pee. I'll be there for like 3 minutes sometimes and nothing comes out. And the flow is so weak that you might want to wait an extra 30 seconds after you're done because there's going to be some residual. And again, this is the worst. It's like people are like, I thought this was a fitness channel. Yeah, I'd say over 40, first time in my life, there was some pee-pee dripping down Uncle Baby's leg. This is no one. Part of the thing, especially if you're guys, men don't want to tell you this because we have a lot of ego at play, and there's a lot of you don't get, like, your dad's not going to tell you about him pissing his thigh at 45. So in a way, it would be helpful just to know what's to come, what to expect. Also, it's like during youth, you will appreciate things more when it's a fast, quick piss all the time. You can hold it for 2 days. All right, I would have appreciated it more if someone told me that I would be pissing depends in 5 years. One of my long-term goals, by the way, is you guys see these, like, Depends, it's an adult diaper. You guys have seen these. And they had a recent campaign, like, more fit guys. Like, they're trying, like, fit guys pee their pants too. All the cool kids are doing it. And like, there's some more fit guys. I'm like, you know what? My next sponsorship goal, I want to be one of the guys they put on a Depends cover. And by the diapers, by the way, they're not like those old baggy, these are fitted. These are like slim fit diapers. So It highlights the legs really nice, the glutes, and it shows off a nice trunk. I can handle that. That would be now. That's one. I'm actually actualizing right now. I'm saying what I hope happens. A Depends sponsorship. That's what we need to keep this going. Oh, I piss sitting down. I piss standing up. I love to go. My favorite way to piss. I love to go in the backyard, especially at night, and just, like, no, there's no need to. I mean, yeah, I wash my hands. My hands are clean, but I'm just saying, like, it's a nice thing to do, just to piss in the wilderness, in the backyard, in the with desert views. That's my favorite way to piss. But anyway, got more. What's going on here? Let me continue. There's a lot of great stuff here. Skin dryness, yeah, like, so at about 36, I went to Joshua Tree, and another desert area here in SoCal. Cool place. Like, it's like the Wild Wild West meets New Age hippie in some ways. But it's a vibe. It's a vibe out there. It's a great place to go, way to relax, and like a getaway, a nice weekend getaway in Joshua Tree. Amazing. You'll hear hyenas, wolves howling at the moon. You'll get incredible stars at night because there's no light pollution, and just a total serene time of peace getaway. Love it. But it's dry as fuck. And I woke up the first morning after staying there one night, and I saw this crack. It looked like I got cut, but it was like a wrinkle crack that went from here to here because I was so dehydrated. And again, it's a wrinkle in progress that was exacerbated by being dehydrated and also just being old as fuck. And like, you start to wake up and it's like you start to see a monster in the fucking mirror. That's new. Or like some days you look like your face looks like a catcher's mitt. And other days Uncle Baby Biscuits looks pretty spry. You're like, maybe from a really far distance, you might think he's not old. Up close, I know exactly how old he is. But there's just some bad days. So that's definitely like, and I never had to use, not that I don't use lotion, but I never got dry skin before in my life. Like, cause I'm just a naturally oily son of a bitch. And, always moist and marinating. And, I got dry skin. Never before had I got dry skin. That has gone away with some more regular lotion and just increasing the water intake. The gray hair, I feel lucky on the gray hair piece. I get a couple that I can pull out. I don't know if I'm going to ever dye my hair, because at some point it's almost like it's just better to you'd probably be more impressed with me if I had gray hair. But here's what he said. I get a couple grays, I can pull them out, no big deal. And then you talk hair loss everywhere. Now, I will say, around 30, early 30s, the crown of my head started to thin. In person, you wouldn't be able to really see anything except like under bright sunlight, and if you were like 6'4", 6'5", taller than me. But because I film fucking fitness videos and you got to use hard light, like we're just filming a bunch of hangs content, and it looks like this part right here, I have no hair. Like you can see, I've got fucking hair. It's thinner, but like on camera, it looks like it's a blow. It's like, okay, I'm on camera at this angle with this light, I look bald. Okay, I got to just start dealing with that or wear hats. But I noticed that at 32. It's actually a little bit better now than even it was because I started taking some Rogaine, which, again, you talk about like taking more stuff as you get older. Like I tell my wife, like, I got to do so many fucking things just to go to bed. I got to do so many beyond the fucking dishes, taking the trash out, vacuuming, cleaning the whole area here. I try to set aside some things for tomorrow, like a big jug of water that's going to be chilled. I have my sauna ready to go. I make sure that my daily planner is ready in terms of what I have to get out and done. I got to brush, I got to water pick, and then adding the Rogaine. And I do some skin treatment to try, I'm trying to see supple. I'm doing the best I can. But adding the drops twice a day, it's a new monthly expense of like $20 on the low end if you get the generic. It's like, do I want it? Like, how many more things am I going to have to add? So at some point, it's just like, maybe I just get rid of the hair altogether. But I like having some hair. And as long as it's, who knows? But that's definitely, I'd be afraid to stop taking the Rogaine. That's the thing. Like now I got to keep taking it, because if I stop taking it, then it's gonna be rough from behind up top. What are you gonna do? After 60, issues changes were becoming more obvious. Notice decreased overall muscle mass, even though I was still working out. So that's the one thing. It's like you're doing what you used to do in terms of your approach, but the weights are going down. You can't, like, you're sore a day or two extra longer. It's depressing. What can I tell you? It's depressing. Oh man, it's so crispy right now. Ooh. I mean, it's tough, and it's an acceptance journey, and you just got to start competing with yourself today, not competing with who you were 10, 20 years ago, and then occasionally you get a day where it's like, okay, you're an old head. Like, old head meaning you can tell how old someone is, like, in their head, their face, the amount of gray hair, wrinkles, whatever. The one thing I'll say about fitness is you can look younger below the neck. That's where you really, like, how much older can you look above the head? I don't know how much you can do there. I think it helps. But to be like we just saw the Olympics. The best players were old. 39, 36, 35. Three best players on the U.S. basketball team. But it wasn't an 82-game regular season with 16 playoff games to win it all. It was a couple exhibition games and then 6 shorter games. So yeah, at that age, they can still be the best in the world. But now if you're asking them to play 82 games and then do an extended 16 playoff game series, best of 7 series, that might be too much. The body might just break down, and or they can't maintain the level of performance because they're needing an extra day or two to recover from the last game, competition, singing, dancing muscle man. This son of a bitch, and I mean that in the best way. If you could in your life find someone that is this supportive for what you do, I wish you that gift. He comments on a shorter, a longer. He's the most engaged supporter of this channel. I appreciate you, man. I don't know how you do it, I don't take it for granted, because that level of support, most people would die for that level of support in what they're doing. So I'm grateful for it. I got to get through this point. I'm like halfway through. It was a long comment. By the way, check out the poll in our community tab. You can see these comments. People of different ages, different experiences. When they felt a rapid aging burst, what to expect. I thought it was, and you can still take part of the poll. It's still up. Body pains, low back pain, knees not as strong, less flexibility, longer recovery times between workouts, tired more often. That's really, like, I get to 4 p.m. Like, I used to have a coffee like 12 to 2 to get through the rest of the day if I'm gonna do anything productive. Like, I'm literally like this. And so I can't come on here and talk to you like this. It's like, it's supposed to be a motivating video. No one wants to see someone like this going through life like they are. This is what people look like watching TV. Okay, so I can't come on here like that. I got to come on with some energy and some excitement. I had to have some chips just to get a little energy to come on and talk to you guys. That's how worn out I am from this week. A lot of training in the heat, filmed for 3 hours, still trying to do my own workouts. So to that, the fuck are we talking about? Yes, the sex drive and some ED issues. Now, I'll tell you what's interesting. It might be like my last burst of manhood before I wrinkle up into just a shell of who I used to be. But I noticed my sex drive went up over 40. Now, I also backed off on excessive amounts of training, both volume and intensity, and I really picked up my recovery more. So I was actually recovering better, I was sleeping better, breathing better, and then I tightened up my diet more. So I'm not sure how much of that is just related to those changes. Now, if I had not made those changes, maybe at 40, my sex drive would have gone. But now, nothing will equate to what you had in your teens, but it's been very high. That's been a pleasant surprise. But I credit that more to the breathing work I do, a lot of the stretching. That stuff has really helped just manage the stress, keep cortisol down, flip the parasympathetic switch. Because again, stress kills your dick. Anxiety kills your dick. Too much caffeine kills your dick. It's not, even if it gets up, it's going to be like 70, 80%. But obviously getting up there in age, especially if you're not doing. That's why I think cardio is so important. You got to be circulating blood throughout your body daily in some way. Daily walk, maybe it can be some sled, some heavy bag work. I've been doing daily backwards walking, backwards sliding for my knee rehabilitation. And it's more aerobic, and I just put on a movie. I watch a game. I was watching the Olympics, like doing that. So basically my television burns calories. The movies I watch burn calories. Because that's the only way I can fit it in. And sometimes I actually put the cardio in the living room so that, because I want to have family time, but I still have to get my workout in. It's let's say it was later, or I want to sneak it in for my lunch. I typically do it at lunch, by the way. I can actually watch a movie with my family, my wife, my dog, but I'll just be on the fucking, like it's right over there. I'll film some videos with it because it's been a big part of my routine, because I literally can be uploading a video, I can jump on there quick, come back. These are the things that I've got to start doing now, because again, part of what happens as you get older, you get more responsibilities, you might get promoted. Maybe you're managing people now. Or even if you're a business owner, if you want to build a business, you tend to need to bring on people to help you get things done if you want to increase the output and elevate what you're doing. But now you've got to manage that. That's a lot of stress. I'm not good at that. Like, to do this the way I think most people do it on YouTube, you need a team of 3 to 5 people. But I just can't manage 3 to 5 people. I can't do it. That would take away all the extra energy I had to be able to come on here and give you guys this type of interaction. It really would. Like, I'd be at the end of the week, I'd be like this. And I'd be so fucking sick of dealing with people that weren't doing things the way I wanted them done, because I have high standards. So I've got to keep it small and tight, and I've got to just do it all. And that limits my ability to do what I am best at, because now I got to be editing video. I got to be designing fucking images. I'm not good at that. I've made 1,000 thumbnails this year. 1,000 times I've made it, because not only do I make them for you guys, I do split testing, like variations of each thumbnail. They get sample tested. They come back through. This one did that, and you got to. It's like, what? I thought it was just push-ups and squats and lunges, but that eats into my training energy. I literally so I have to do a lot of mindless workouts. I can go do anything for 10 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. Step-ups, lunges, a weighted walk, sled, heavy bag, or I'll do a lot of 20-minute countdown workouts. Like, I got 20 minutes before I got to start making dinner. I got to switch off, because if I work out too late now, I won't be able to get to sleep. So I'll just go out there, countdown clock goes on, hit some music, and I'll just start hitting the bag light, 1 punch at a time, 2 punches, 3 punches, switching stances. Now I'm putting together a combination. Now I'm hitting hard. By the end of the 20 minutes, it's a great workout. And I got something in. Now, if I was stuck to a plan exactly that way, I didn't have the energy to think about what that workout was going to be. I just had to rely on the fact that I'm just going to punch the bag for 20 minutes. Great things always happen, especially as you gain more experience. So, yes, let's get to that. But yeah, the sex drive tends to be an issue. I've heard that from some. Balance issues, low energy and motivation, but recognizing and acknowledging the changes, taking the steps to remedy, correct, restore. He has done some TRT and some peptide stuff, and changed his diet, lots of water, cut out the fast food. But it's a struggle. And again, what we'll do here, I'll keep it honest with you guys. I've had to train the way this year, because of that issue. I'm also changing the way I train. And I've always liked to share stuff, with you guys. That's I like to be in it, because I feel like it's more authentic. And again, I can talk about it more expertly. But I'm going to have to start making you guys some plans sometimes that maybe I can't do all the way, or I'd have to modify beyond my setups or my limitations. And I'm going to have to rely on my experience, and I have done it all. So, but again, it's a mental hang up that, coming with as I share new ways that I'm doing things, but also giving you guys what you came here for initially. That's been the struggle lately too with my age. Some of you guys really want to go hard, and it's I can't do that today. I can't even film that today. So that's been a challenge. That's tough. It's tough to not be able to, and there's deadlines with this too. So, there's just some days that if that knee's too swollen, I can't be doing split jumps. I can do them in the water, but I can't do them on land. So it just changes everything. And that's also new, and I'm managing that as someone with an active job. And there's some of you don't have an active job, and It might just be affecting your ability to keep on your polite work face and voice, right? But you have to be mindful of that, because no one wants to work with someone who looks like this. No one wants to be around it, like that cloud of negativity and energy. But it's like the energy at over 40 that it takes just to, like, I don't want to say put on a show, but I guess it is. It's like to be, a positive, energetic presence, just to be up here versus down here. That's one thing I've noticed, that it just, sometimes I just can't even find it, where I could always turn it on in my 20s. So really just a couple other ones. This is one of the great comments. Lynn's Burkholder, she may be a member of the Daily BJ. 38 made all things I had been ignoring start screaming at the top of their lungs. So yeah, the loss of margin of error. And part of what you take from this, by the way, whether it's exactly 44 or 66, it's mainly, those are like true tipping points. So if you haven't really found a way to be, you haven't found something that you can be active with in some way that you enjoy a little bit at least, by 40, it's a critical time. Like, you might want to do this 28-day Hanes challenge. I can teach you something you can do for the next 40 years that'll help you maintain some of the most important anti-aging factors. Grip strength is people with the best grip strength live the longest. They've studied this time and time again. That's a real thing that can help you live longer, based on the research. That this plan will help you with that. It'll also, like, at 40, I hurt my lower back. I was filming a video. I was doing alternating swings, a movement I had done effortlessly, no warm-up needed for 20 years, no problem. And at the beginning of the video, and it was a 10-minute video, at the beginning of it, I felt my lower back go. And I had to finish the video because my wife had to go do something, and she was filming for me that day. So I went another 9 minutes on it. And that night, for 8 straight hours, I was in tears. And by the way, tomorrow I have a video coming out. It's going to come out here on the channel on what I've been doing. Like, it was a year-long process to rehabilitate that injury. It was brutal. And I had to address various issues at the pelvic level, the lumbar spine level, the QL. It took a year of realignment and adjusting my training. My lower back has never felt better because I invert now and basically hang upside down every day. I started on an inversion table, and now I'm using gravity boots and doing like upside down sit-ups. It's amazing, like how I'm so, like, it's almost like I wish it didn't happen, because like it was kind of a year-long setback. But what I gained from the setback, like you always gain from injuries, by the way, and that's the mindset with this shit. It's not that you're not going to get an injury, not that you're not going to lose something along the way, but you're going to be intelligent about how you can gain it back or recover from it quicker or avoid it in the future. And also just accept the fact that what we lose physically as we age, we gain mentally. So it's an exchange. And a stronger mind can also build a stronger body, even if the body itself isn't as supple or rawly powerful as it was. What were we talking about there? Yes. What? How? Again, this is what I'm talking about. The train of thought, man, it absolutely goes. And by the way, you will say people's names wrong. It's like the SNL skit Celebrity Mom Translator. You'll be saying the first name as the last name. It's mind-blowing how many names I get wrong. Mind-blowing. And I've never been good with names or faces, but I've never been this bad. And that happened after 40 as well. Damon, a longtime supporter of the channel, 30s, felt that his body was carrying all the stress and damage during life more. Things felt heavier. The basics seemed murky. There was more emotional things that seemed to be getting worse. Then in the 40s, about 12 to 24 months ago, I noticed something similar, but the deterioration in my abilities was much faster, as well as the fact I now need to take naps during the day. I did mention that earlier, and I just completely went past that. Yeah, I'll nap in the afternoon like a fucking baby does. I can do it at home, but like, it's better than coffee, because if I have coffee after 12, I'm gonna have trouble going to sleep. And I end up being able to do more work, and I end up having a better workout with that, afternoon nap. Sometimes it's 15 to 20 minutes. Sometimes I'll go for an hour plus based on how I'm feeling. But that was, I napped as a baby, obviously, like we all do, but I didn't nap. The first time I ever napped again was like over 35. I never napped. I couldn't even nap when I was in my 20s. I was so wound up. I was just trying to survive my 20s. Like it was just survival fuel, adrenaline all day, caffeine all day, nutsack power all day in my 20s. So I couldn't even nap if I wanted to. But now Uncle Baby Biscuits, I go night night. Okay, gives me some extra time and work later in the day. Some people are saying, not yet, but I'm gonna turn 44 soon. Or again, I think a big part of it is, and someone's saying the gray hair just happened quickly. Now a lot of it, I always go back to. It's not funny because it was, but it's been a long time. Like there was a tragedy in the Bush family, the presidential lineage. Barbara Bush, notoriously with gray hair, white, like the brightest of white hair. A family member had died 50, 60 years ago or something. And overnight, they said her hair went completely white. The stress from that traumatic event literally, all her hair went white. All of her family says this. They claim to not be exaggerating. I've heard of things like this happen before, but man, stress is the catalyst. Like anything that's lingering, stress, there's a tipping point of stress where that shit gets activated. And I think for a lot of us who even may have been taking care of ourselves in our 20s, 30s, we got hit with that pandemic. Like that pandemic, I know it's 4 years ago, but that was a 25-year shift. Like the effects from those couple years, what I'm trying to say is the impact is 25 plus years, a generational impact. People, half the people in my industry, they're in a different career. They're gone. The way they make money, it's different now. That's a big deal, especially in your later stages of life, because at this stage, harder to learn something new, harder to find the energy and motivation to do something new. That is scary shit. And in your 20s, because you have all that time and energy and you don't even, I don't know, it's hard to explain. You don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? You don't really have anything to lose. Now you do in your 40s, so you're much more risk averse and you don't have the energy to do the way things you used to do. So you got to be very smart. You got to pick your spots. MJ with the fadeaway. Now he's not doing the dunks from the free throw line anymore. We're going to do nice, easy fadeaway. Unblockable shot, minimal energy used. I'll still drop 30, okay? That's what starts to happen more than ever. But the whitening of the hair really fast is scary. And again, my father grew up in Tunisia, North Africa, desert life, hard life, slum. He lived in a slum. And so I have probably less gray hair than he did at this age. But I grew up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The food was always on the table. I wasn't out in the desert getting fried by the sun all day. I had better education, better everything, right? We all do a generation later if you're lucky. So lifestyle, genetics obviously are number one, but lifestyle, and then so basically you have lifestyle and environmental triggers, right? Who knows the effect of all the plastics and chemicals in our food in terms of grain, bad skin, all the internal health problems people are having right now. Food supply is fucked. You do the best you can. You try to go organic when you can, but the expenses and all that stuff has to be taken into place. But, and then there is the weight gain too. And that's part of what, we talked about Ozempic here before, but it's man, you're over 40, especially if you just had a kid. I mean, it makes sense. Just know that you still need to exercise too. And if it can make what would have been a 2 to 3 year project more 3 to 6 months, awesome. I'm all for it. Though again, we don't know what the long-term effects of that stuff is going to be. I'm not a doctor, so I can't tell you. All I know is that the jury is still out on a lot of that shit, and they're trying to get these drugs out real fast to make them competitive and capitalize on this surge right now. So who knows if they're really doing their due diligence behind the scenes. One thing I do know is Big Pharma, you got to always keep a watchful eye on big fucking pharma. All right, big anything. All right, I'm old, so now I'm losing energy. It's 64 minutes. I used to be able to do this for 3 hours, no problem. But I'm gonna finish this off. What do we got? I think that's it. Anyway, Pod on training by the decade. I can look into that. All right, guys, I think that's good. I'm gonna finish it off for today. Have a beautiful weekend. Stay tuned for the 28-day Hangs Challenge, which also launches the day of our new YouTube memberships. More on that is coming. Multiple tiered options to just help us do this, continue to do this at a bigger and better level, and also get more content, potentially some ad-free options at the higher tiers. I think you'll really dig it. Again, it's right here through YouTube, which is part of what's so exciting. You don't have to go anywhere else, and just going to help me go deeper and give you guys more plans, challenges, and more insider content, if you will. So stay tuned for that. You want to do the Gorilla Corn Coffee and Protein Bundle, link in the description. Have a beautiful weekend. Check out the article so you can still jump into the poll as well. And I got a lot of great hang content coming up. Again, if you got shoulder pain, back pain, weak grip, you want a bigger upper body, more sculpted abs, this plan is gonna be phenomenal. All you'll need is a pull-up bar, a simple doorway pull-up bar, and/or like those dip row bars. You see those right there? You can make it work with that as best you can, and or a TRX that you can put into a door frame. So you can do this. You can take that with you to a hotel. So it's very accessible. You need something to hang from. I'll show some door options, but it's not optimal. Again, you won't be able to do all the variations. And again, you don't need to completely change or abandon your current way of training. This can plug into that. I'll teach you how to do it. So it's really for everyone, and it's a great way to kick off the final quarter of the year. Thanks for jumping in here, guys. I appreciate it. Again, as they say, as young kids say, like, share, and subscribe. And I try to get to as many contents as I can, but keep in mind, I'm over 40, so to see all these things come so fast as an old caveman now is difficult. So, all right, guys, love you. Peace.